Okay, it's February 1st, 2026. This triple Leo is walking up the snow on a Leo full moon in Imbolc. And yeah, not feeling like doing anything super creative today. The moon is actually hitting my natal moon, like directly on the degree. So this is my version of doing something creative. Knowing and being conscious of how slow I speak and how slow I feel. And I think the truth is, I really do identify with the cowardly lion, and having had a lot of childhood trauma that kept getting perpetuated, it's really confusing to understand what is me innately and what is shaped by experience on life on earth, and all the things I deem painful and scary and unsafe. Maybe they're already reflected in my birth chart because those experiences were destined to happen to make my unique make and model this way. But I just wanted to try to put some words to my experience as a healer, as someone who's been on a psycho-spiritual path since I was 19 consciously, and really defining and identifying that my mother is a narcissist, and I've had narcissistic abuse from her my entire life. And I'm only naming her right now because she was the one who was verbal toward me and I had the most time with. I did receive trauma in equal measures from both parents, and there being addiction, neglect, abandonment, just feeling like a burden or an orphan, creates a lot of stereotypical identifications, behaviors, beliefs, ways of being. And I just wanted to say that the last few days I've really been leaning in on things I've been seeing in my feed on narcissistic abuse and the way that they operate and the impact they have on their victims. And it being like a mother-daughter thing is a whole other level, because I'm half her, and I'm definitely shaped by what I made everything she did and say mean, everything I absorbed, everything that was unspoken but felt, the mimicry. And for me personally, at 56, last year, it was like the way she spoke to me as if I was there with a blank slate and forgotten how everything was before. And she was just being her, only more pronounced because there's slight dementia onset and short-term memory loss. So it's almost like the ugly parts get highlighted and they can't even get filtered out anymore. So it's just even more brazen and shocking. So I was just in shock. I was in shock that someone could speak to someone like that. And I really prayed for miracles. I'm like, we like the same music, we like the same memes, we like the same fashion, we like the same art. How could she be talking to me like this and being scary mommy? Hashtag scary mommy. That I was a scared 4-year-old all over again, just waiting for the moment of safety, for the moment to relax, for the moment that I felt like I could belong, for the moment that I could feel vulnerable enough to feel loved, like she said, I love you. But no, it's almost like entities do possess these characters that have such deflated egos that they do turn to addiction. And one of her addictions, I realize, is chaos and conflict. If there's peace, like, oh no, something's wrong. If there's peace in the field, let's bring some agitation in and start spicing things up by throwing some spikes in here. But yeah, the abuse and the violence and the violation I felt, and going into complete uber protection mode was pretty uncanny. That my nervous system did shut down in the last year, and I went into total burnout, and all the subconscious things that have been there all along in this lifetime, in this story, had just been completely underlined and exposed. And it was like, this is the real infrastructure of my makeup. So that all the ways I've coped to survive, the child of addicts is always the helper, always the one, the peacekeeper, don't ruffle any feathers, don't speak out of line. And even though my parents were liberal and drug dealers and hippies and all of that, I still was not allowed to have a voice. And, was a latchkey kid from 3rd grade on. So really remembering just the loss of being cared for and the isolation, And so fast forward to my days now and trying to make sense of the isolation and how my life has always mimicked my childhood, where I'm like, do I like this? Is this my preference? Or is this what just ends up happening because my nervous system is used to it? So I've had to work really hard in the past year of letting go of doing, to be accepted doing, to be paid to exist, and especially being in a service industry to survive. It's like I had zero energy left to give. And also felt like I didn't even know my purpose of being here. If a mother who calls themselves a mother had the right to be that disrespectful, just left me so disassociated, so hyper vigilant, because if you're in danger sitting on a couch with your mom, even though the words are saying one thing but the energy is saying another, the total unsafety. So yeah, I'm trying to heal from being a survivor. I really do now identify with being a survivor of narcissistic abuse, because I feel like it really took me out, took out my identity. Any identity I had, I just erased it this last year. And I just feel inspired to share this because I don't think I'm alone in this. And sometimes I'm a pioneer with these things. I was always aware of it, but I just feel like it's important to name it. Just how hollow I felt, just a shell of a person in this past year, and the not wanting to be here, just like a vegetable. Not having any dreams for myself because my dreams don't really matter, and that was proven by my parents. But no curiosity, and then being blamed for everything, and they're the victim. So what is coming out of the ashes that I'm learning is just having the right, after being a protector and a savior, to actually have the right to say, I'm a survivor. Not the fear of like, oh, if they find out that I don't think they did a good job, or they were a bad parent, or I'm afraid of my mother. Who wants to say, I've been afraid of my mother my whole life? They say the words, I love you, but I am in utter fear bracing myself because I don't really know what's going to come next. All I know is I'm bad and I'm going to get into trouble. And I only unmasked that this year. This feeling like I'm going to get in trouble and I'm bad. And I've been such a good girl my whole life, but it's just because of the conditioning of their repeated behavior toward me that I have lived my life feeling like I'm going to get in trouble, I'm going to be punished. Even like walking in the forest, like a ranger is going to come out of nowhere. To be fair, I'm not experiencing that right now. So that's a proof that that I have moved something, some identities. Anyway, yeah, I think there's this unresolved anger of never getting to say, it's not fair. And I'm so fucking angry. And how dare you say you love me, but treat me with such little respect. No respect. So I'm really looking to strengthen my own self-respect, my own addiction to chaos, my own need for conflict. If you're in peace with someone and then afraid that they might turn on you, or what do they really think of you? It's like you get to not trust anyone anymore and not feel safe with people that pretend they love you but actually speak about you behind your back, or that's just what I experienced with my mom. So yeah, so there's a place to actually embrace your anger and voice it, and also these moments of breath work and toning and screaming out all the things you couldn't before, like, fuck you, it's not fair, no, don't talk to me like that. I'm reclaiming my voice, or I'm learning to use my voice, So, yeah, one thing I've definitely noticed is sometimes this urge or feeling like being so invisible and so unseen, and all the pain that was put upon me, no one's ever gotten to see that. Because even in narcissistic partnerships, the narcissist only shows that face to their victim. And they just want to be in control and control the situation. And it's just so wild to see them hijack the narrative. And then they're the only ones who have the narrative because they're the louder person. And that really does feel unjust. So all of the things you find online are 100% true. The afflictions, aftermath, because the confusion is so real and the loss of identity is so real that the confusion makes all the words go away and understanding even what happened. So it's actually really nice to see things written up on narcissism, because you're like, this is 100% textbook. So this has got to be like an entity affliction, or like a soul loss that tries to control the pure-hearted and the vulnerable. And I just say that the ones that really want to be willing to come with a parent for trust and safety, or go into that love relationship because they do feel seen and loved, because the love bombing is real, whether that's parent or friends or romantic partnership. And then their complete dismissal of you, of just only having what I call a monologue. If you realize that whoever you're with is only ever having a monologue, and if you say something, it gets criticized, shut down, made fun of, like you actually don't have a right to have a voice, you know what I'm talking about. It's not a winning game. There's no winning. So you just kind of have to play along and pray for them and their lack of inability to love and have self-respect. They have a need, a voracious need to control others, to make themselves feel better. But yeah, shocking, 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 and I'm still in repair a year later. And I had to stop talking because everything was twisted. Every single word was twisted. Even just a glance was interpreted 100 different ways that had a 0% to do with truth of what I was actually feeling, thinking, all of that. But by walking this, I've learned a lot, and I am finally shifting some core beliefs and learning as I go. I've always felt disrespected. It's hard to try to build a new structure and foundation that is of a character that you approve of, that I believe in, that I approve of, that I feel good to say, no, this is who I am. Doesn't matter what you say. So here's to the Leo and all of us, the coward. It just took a little courage to practice using my voice because I've been the protector all along, to not ever say that this happened to me. But narcissistic abuse and being a survivor is truly, truly a mental health affliction. And it is designed to destroy our belief in ourselves. So for your own mental health, see where you've been giving your power away to any narcissist, because power is an evasive thing. When you're in burnout and you want someone to tell you what to do, if you're used to someone always being the narrator and having the monologues and saying you're this and you're that, and you're used to it, it's like you want to cast other people in that role as soon as you can, whether it's a boss or a partnership. And this is where we have to learn to trust ourselves, to define what is power, what is safety, what is trusting ourselves. Are you going to the tarot oracle cards to look for the answer? Or can you trust your body once you're out of fight or flight? So this is a return to your power and finding your unique, authentic voice, and then getting to decipher who you are and express yourself and have fun doing it. My best heartfelt wishes.